Hi. So again, I think I keep coming back. I film a video and then I take a week off and and then I'm back again because life is just so hectic and I'm just getting used to that. And yeah, hopefully my voice is not too raspy today because I'm just recovering from the flu. But yeah, I'm back and it's going to be a very exciting conversation today because I want to talk about womanhood, everything womanhood, because it's Women's Month. I will call it Women's Month and not Women's Day. Yeah, it was Women's Day last weekend, I think. But again, like Valentine's Day and like any other big, celebratory day, it's just another um, commercial day, commercial gimmick. Um, so yeah, I'm here today to talk about womanhood and what it means to be a woman in the arts in 2026. Okay, so what does it mean? What does it mean to be a woman in 2026? What does it mean to be an Indian woman in 2026? And the reason I put ethnicity in the picture, or what does it mean to be a brown woman in 2026, or why I'm putting race into this picture, because these are very significant factors that affect womanhood. Yes, womanhood in general is pretty similar globally, but it changes with circumstance, it changes with culture, it changes with um, finance as well. So there's a bunch of different subtopics I'm going to touch on in this video because, again, they're all very relevant to me, and I hope it resonates with you. And I want to get more women on board. Um, and let's get chatting in the comments. I do read the comments, by the way. My previous video, I'm so happy and so proud. It reached a big viewpoint, and there were some very interesting comments and perspectives, which I haven't replied to, but I have acknowledged them and I have seen it and read it because I'm a person who wants to think over what I type or what I communicate with strangers. I just don't want to say anything that comes to my mind. So I haven't replied to them yet, but I will. When I know what to say and know how to reply, I will reply to that. But what does it mean to be a brown woman? What does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be a young woman in 2026? To be honest, I need to acknowledge and be grateful for where I have reached today. I need to be more grateful for that, which I am practicing. That's sort of my goal for this year, to practice gratitude, to practice acknowledgement, of my own achievements and my own stature, because you can lose that somewhere along the way. But I am the woman I didn't even dream of when I was a little girl. It's very interesting. I didn't even dream of being a professional artist. I didn't dream of hell even being independent, to be honest, because when you're a kid, you don't look that far ahead, or at least I never looked that far ahead. So I'm the woman I never dreamed of. And what's a bigger success than that? What's a bigger success than reaching a place? Um, you worked so hard to get here, but the funny thing is, you didn't even know you wanted to be here in the first place, and you still got here. So just imagine how possible it is to get to some place you've been visualizing and manifesting and dreaming all your life. If you got to a point where you didn't even dream of, just see how easy it is to get to your dreams as well. So I think being a woman in 2026 it's a wave of confidence. It's really a wave of confidence because yes, um, women have had strength and power for generations to come. Hell, where it's known to be, in some texts that we are the superior species as well. We're the superior gender, we're the superior sex. Not gender, sorry, we're the superior sex. We all know that. It's getting more and more aware now as the modern age is kicking in with the internet generation and everything. But I think confidence is something totally, I wouldn't say new, but it's something that hasn't been touched on in today's day. And I want to touch on that. As an artist, as a woman in the arts, I am finally confident that I can achieve what I want because I'm already a quarter way there. I'm, like I said, I'm at a place where I didn't even dream of I would be. I am a graduate from a very well known art institution. I have gained skills and I've gained the depth in perception and understanding about art and philosophy. Um, I have been able to pay my own bills, living the independent life. I'm able to build human relationships, whether it's friendships, professional relationships, romantic relationships, familial relationships, all of these. I'm able to build and work and understand in all of these departments and make mistakes, by the way. I am able to make mistakes because without errors, how are we supposed to improve on ourselves, right? So I'm able to make mistakes as well. I didn't think I would get here, to be honest. I never even thought I was okay. We're going to talk about my 13-year-old self. Okay, so as I was talking about my 13-year-old self, or I would say 15, because maybe 13 to 15, that you just hit the teens. You're figuring out what the teens means at all in the first place. So my 13-year-old self, first of all, she never saw a world outside of her family. She never saw that. She never saw a world outside of Pune. Pune is this city in Maharashtra, India, where I grew up. She never saw a world outside Pune. She never, hell, even in that city, she never saw a world outside her neighborhood, the the neighborhood where she lived, and the school she went to. That's it. Those were her two worlds: the neighborhood where she lived, the school where she went, and the friends she made in school. These were her two worlds, and she never saw a world outside of that. She just 13. I was in seventh grade, eighth grade. I was aware. I knew there was a world outside Pune. There was a world outside India because that was exactly the time when my brother left for higher education. So it was a major sort of um, junction of my life, I would call it, because I'm visualizing a traffic junction. It was a major junction of my life because it was a time when I was getting a sense of myself that I could be somebody on my own. But at the same time, I was just getting used to a house where my brother has left because he's just gone to, study his undergrad and he moved to Australia. So he moved first. So it was a little bit different. And I think that was the time where a lot of stuff happened from 13 to 16. A lot of stuff happened in my life, which has shaped the way I am today as a woman. But the one thing that kept being constant, and that was I did not see myself outside that bubble. I was like, this is where I am, this is where I'm going to be. I don't think I can even survive outside this bubble. I don't think I would survive. I don't think I'd even make it. That was how I thought of myself. So that's who my 13-year-old self was. She didn't see herself outside of that bubble. And she didn't really have, I don't think she had any dream or vision of what to be in life. Safe to say, I was very dreamless, guys. I was very aimless, dreamless, goalless. I was just like, I have to get through this year, finish this grade in school, and that's it. It was one year at a time. It was also the time when my best friend, she left my school and she changed schools. So, like I said, it was a junction. Too many things happened. Brother left home for education. Best friend left my school to a different school. All of this craziness is happening, and I'm still like, I'm not leaving this. And maybe that's why I didn't want to leave that bubble, because things were feeling so uncertain that the only thing I could hold on to was my parents and my home and that bubble, because I felt like I had the power and control of over that. Because people I value so much in my life suddenly left me, but they didn't leave me actively, but they left me because they wanted something different in their circumstances, right? But because of that, um there was like a fluctuation of confidence, and there was absolutely no goal because like how are you supposed to have a goal when you're barely holding it together, right? So that's my teenage self. That is giving you, this is a very long context by the way, but that is who I was as a teenager. So I didn't even visualize that I'm going to be here one day as a 24-year-old woman, um who is able to pay her bills, who is able to cook her own food, who is able to do her own laundry, who's able to literally, okay, these are all daily monotonous chores, but who's also able to take care of herself emotionally, you know? Um, who's able to sit and cry in her room if she's feeling sad, and who's able to dance her heart away if she's really happy. I didn't know I could do these things because at that point, I was completely bogged down by all of this craziness that my only support system, my only comfort, my only sense of power, of control, and all of that was my parents, was my neighborhood, was the people surrounded, who surrounded me, who were familiar by me, who knew, oh, that's how Mansi behaves, that's how she reacts. That was my ground. And now I'm here in a different city across the oceans. I have definitely worked very hard to try and get that sense of standing ground, that sense of familiarity in neighborhood again. It's almost like a pattern. You do that no matter how much you grow up and different places you go to. That's one thing you keep doing. You keep doing that. The only difference now is I'm a grown woman. There are some times when the world expects certain behavior out of you, which you, again, you don't think you would have it in you. Honestly, when you're younger, you don't think you would have it in you, but you do that. Like sometimes, no matter how stressful life can get, when you step out and go into work, um, you can't share your stresses with your colleagues always. Yes, Australia is a very sensitive and open-minded place where they do talk a lot about mental health, and they consider that in every workspace. But how much can you go on about it, right? So that's something I'm learning again as a woman, that there's heaps of battles in your life, and some battles you fight, some battles you don't fight, and sometimes you don't even talk about these battles because not every battle is one big raging war. Some of them are very tiny battles, and they'll bother you for a minute. You'll fight them and then you'll move on. But everybody doesn't need to know all of it, is what I've learned as a woman. Again, I know that so far whatever I've spoken about is very general. Doesn't look like a sex thing, doesn't look like a gender thing, does it? And that's exactly what it is. That's what I'm trying to say. That womanhood is no different to manhood, if that makes sense, in the general sense. And I really wish the world understood that better, because then we wouldn't have so many gender bias, gender specific violence, um, oppression, dominance. We wouldn't have all of these things if people just looked at both the genders, say both the sexes, on a very general level, that we all face the same thing. If you're human, you'll face the same thing. If you're human, Your happiness quotient would be the same as everybody, and your sadness quotient will also be the same as everyone if you're human. But what's the one thing that I would like to make aware as a woman in today's time, as a woman in 2026, or the perception of womanhood in 2026? I learn a lot from my mother and my grandmother, and I'm beginning to observe and really value the way they've lived their lives. I don't think I've ever been one to be like raging against my mom, saying, "Oh my God, you didn't do anything right." I don't think I've ever been a raging person against my mom. Okay, I love her a lot. I know everybody loves their mom, but some people do have certain opinions about the way, their mothers dealt with situations or raised them. I do as well, but in the larger scheme of things, I've never really been against her opinions. I've never really been somebody to judge the way she lived her life. In fact, as I'm growing now, I'm getting a lot more inspiration than demeaning her. And that brings me to the elephant in the room. What we're all waiting for, what Mansi's going to talk about, is feminism. Let's go. What is feminism? The modern feminism, new age feminism. Yeah, what does it mean? What does that mean? It means what the dictionary definition means: equality for all humans. Okay? There is nothing to do with like female superiority out here. We don't want to be dominant people. Okay? Let me get that straight. As a woman, okay, I'm going to speak for myself because I don't know how other women react, but as a woman, as Mansi, I don't want to dominate anyone. I don't want to dominate a man. I don't want to dominate a child. I don't want to dominate another woman. I don't want to dominate anybody from the queer community. Hell, I don't want to even dominate animals, bro. Like, I don't want to dominate anyone because I am very happy in where I am and I'm at peace with myself and I'm sailing by. That's what I'm doing. I'm sailing by, I'm swimming through the ocean, swimming against the tides every day, but that's on a professional level. I'm content. I don't want to be fighting somebody to prove a point to them. Because honestly, I think we're all proving our points just by the work we do. So we don't need to be barking and screaming to prove a point to someone, is what I think. But I think modern feminism has become this way where you have to constantly work hard and prove to somebody that you are worth the acknowledgement, you are worth the respect. Some of them go to the extent of, hey, I'm smarter than you, I'm stronger than you, I'm much better than you, so you have to respect me no matter what. I'm the woman. Or there's the other tangent where people go like, hey, what happened to your respecting women formula? Like, why aren't you respecting me? They have almost misused um the basic etiquette of respecting other humans into an angle where, hey, I'm a woman, you gotta take care of me. Hey, I'm a woman, you have to respect everything I do. If you say anything, you're offending me. If you say anything, you're abusing me. It's going in that tangent. So there's a lot of extreme tangents which I'm observing on the internet and in people's opinions as well, like the people I interact with. um And it's fair. Again, I'm not saying anything is right or wrong. I'm just pointing out that these are the different opinions that people have. And that is also what modern feminism is going into, right? But I guess the reason why I say that I don't want to dominate anyone is because somewhere I look at my, say, grandmother, right? She's so fierce. She's so strong. She's so empathetic. She's so emotional. She is um self-sufficient. She is very self-sufficient. She's very in tune with who she is on the core. Because she was from a time where, quote unquote, it's like men are more superior because they were the breadwinners of the family, and she was a housewife and she took care of the children and she didn't have any power. Yeah, she didn't have She didn't make her own money, but just definitely had financial independence. And that's what I'm trying to get to is, yes, modern feminism is all about women earning their own money, women getting to positions of power, that are competing hand in hand with men. Beautiful. I love that. That's where we're supposed to reach, right? Equality. Why can't we compete on the same level mentally? Physically, that's a different argument altogether. Some people would say we have more strength or men have more strength. It's a different argument. But mentally, why can't we compete with each other? We're the same humans mentally. Why can't? And I get that. And I get why women are fighting for equal positions of power. But But I also want to make it very aware that dominance does not equal strength. That's what I want to get to. Dominance does not equal strength. And the reason I say this, I say that dominance does not equal strength, is because a lot of battles have been fought by women. If you talk about modern day stuff as well, like, for example, the fact that we menstruate on a monthly basis, and some women, you know go through extreme torments of pain. Mine is sort of average. Not gonna point it out too much. I get by. I don't really suffer that much. I just need a day or two to cuddle myself, and then I'm good to go. But a lot of women go through really bad menstrual cycles, um but they still survive. Nobody is, it's a trigger warning, but nobody is dying. Nobody's trying to kill themselves, you know, because they can't endure that pain. I don't think, okay, I haven't really done research on this, but I don't think any woman has wanted to kill herself because she couldn't endure menstrual pain. She just cries it out, she weeps, but she gets by. And that's the most beautiful kind of strength I observe, to be honest. Like, no, like, that's not okay. Yes, now we have laws, and that's a way the conversation is changing and getting better, that we should provide menstrual leave for women because it can be really bad for some of us. But even that is not like a big, raging, loud war or announcement. It's happening. It's taking its sweet time. It's happening. And women are still functioning. Whether these laws are in place or not, they're still functioning. If it's painful, they'll take a day off. If it's not, they'll still go to work. Some of them still go to work even with pain. And I think that is a whole different kind of strength and power, where there is no loud dominance involved. And that's why I feel like there's no need for dominance. There is really no need, because we as women have a limited capacity of energy within us. So when I say limited capacity of energy, it's multiple energy factors. One is a direct energy. You eat food and you need energy. That is the most obvious form. We've got mental energy, we've got sexual energy, we've got emotional energy. There's different kinds of energies that exist within us. And I think we have it in limited capacity at this moment, because we have different forms. Each form is limited, so we got to use it very cautiously. The minute you overuse a form, you get drained out. That so the For example, as simple as the minute you overuse natural energy, you're drained and you just want to sleep, because you're like, oh my god, that was a very tiring day. Maybe I didn't eat right, maybe I didn't drink enough water, but that was really draining. That's the physical energy. When you're overly investing, putting your emotional energy in a lot of places, you get like, I wouldn't say mentally, but there's a different feeling. You just feel emotionally drained out. You feel dead inside, like they say it. You feel dead inside. You don't feel like, trying anything anymore, because you've put too much, you've poured too much than you even had in the first place, right? Sexual energy, same thing. If you're exchanging sexual energy way more than you have it within yourself, you lose the power of sex, you lose the power of intimacy. You again feel dead inside. You're doing it just as an act at this point, as an animal almost. So women, we have limited, very limited capacity of energy, and we need to really preserve that. And I think, and that's why I have chosen to be the way I am. I think I was always inherently like this because my mom is not a very dominant person. And no matter how much I try, if I've got her genes, say, even if I want to be a dominant person, if I've got her genes, that's not going to work for me. I'll be in like a constant conflict and battle in my head. So my mother is not a dominant person. My father is also not a dominant person. So when both the male and female entity in my life, when both of them are not dominant and they're very in tune with themselves and they try and deal with complex situations with internal strength rather than aggression or outwardly strength, you're bound to get that and you're bound to be influenced by that. And that's your needle, that's your radar. That's how you feel like you need to operate in the world. And that is so peaceful to me, to be honest, because I am getting confidence as a woman to not deal with certain parts of my life because that would take extra energy from that little, say, that little cup of mine. For example, let's take emotional energy. If I want to, I have, say, let's just take this. This is my cup of emotional energy. Very cute little cow. Anyways, this is my cup of emotional energy, okay? And if this is all I have, I need to make sure I'm pouring it um very cautiously in different places. Because there'll come a point when I've poured everything I have and I'm just pouring empty air, which is not really valuable, is it? So with emotional energy, I have come to a point where I am confident enough to decline some people, or I'm confident enough to not even engage with some people, you know, just because I'm protecting that emotional energy that I already have. It hurts people who you know deeply and you decline something with them or you cut them off. It hurts a lot. It hurts internally, but it's that weird kind of pain that's good for you because at the end of the day, if you gave more of your emotional energy to them, your cup would be empty at the end of it. You're done. So that's where I'm at. I'm building that confidence. When it comes to, say, professional energy, which is what I'm doing as an artist, I'm learning to conserve that as well. Okay, because there was these last 3 months of this year, I have been pouring my professional cup. I've been pouring my professional cup every day, every single day. I've been pouring it and it's empty. It is literally empty, and I'm pouring empty air. So every now and then I gotta just take a breather, pour that cup, pour my professional energy back into that cup, let it brew for a bit so I can pour it out into the world again. That's my analogy of how I look at energies within our body. And as women, we are privileged to have these multiple cups, but it's very important that we use them very cautiously and not overpour them because you'll be left with nothing in the end if you overpour something. And that's why, in a way, that's why you also have angry women because they've poured more than they have, and now they're trying to deal with different entities with nothing left within them. That's going to piss you off, obviously. If you're dealing with an annoying manager at your workplace, or if you're dealing with an annoying coworker at your workplace, you're bound to get pissed if you've put your everything into that space. Now, how do you deal with that? Okay, how do you deal with the situation? You give a good amount of a professional energy into that space, but you don't give your emotional energy to the people that function there. It's a very tricky space to work with. It can be toxic to the outside world sometimes, But that's how you preserve your little cups. If you're overcompensating, if you're overgiving all your professional energy to the workplace because, hey, this is work, I got to be 100%. Yeah, be 100% at the work you're doing. So if you're an accountant, if you're a receptionist, if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if anything, if you're an artist, give your 100% into the work you're doing. Give your 100% into the paintings. Give your 100% into this, if you're a YouTuber, content creator, into filming the stuff that you do. Give your 100% into, if you're a receptionist, making sure admin is in order, everything all logged. If you're an accountant, make sure your numbers game is perfect. Give your 100% to the work you're doing. But I know with work comes people, and many times people interaction is a key aspect of professionalism. But don't give your entire emotional energy cup to the people there. Because guess what? That emotional energy cup is supposed to cater to your loved ones, your friends, your family as well. Work is not the only place you're pouring that cup into, right? We all have families, at least the ones who are blessed to have a family. We all have families. We all have friends. If we're blessed to make good, valuable friendships, preserve some for them, is what I would say. Preserve some for them and give a few drops maybe at your workplace. If we were to look at it in a very visual teacup kind of manner, preserve the majority of your cup for the people that give you joy and happiness and peace and comfort, and give a few drops for the people you kind of have to as a part of professionalism. And that's how I would like to end this video, because that's one thing I've learned as a woman, as a growing woman, from a girl to a woman in this year, um, is I have multiple cups within me, and hopefully you've understood what I'm trying to say now. I've got multiple cups within me. It's important that I pour each cup very cautiously, because the minute I overpour a cup, that part of me shuts down, just shuts down. And I know this now because I've experienced this a few times from the different cups of my life. I've experienced it on and off from all the different areas. So I've learned to not overpour anymore. Always, always, if that's your cup, always keep at least this much for yourself. You have to retain this much. If it's empty, there's nothing in there. You're bound to feel empty inside because you've given everything you have. So just remember that you've got cups inside of you, and you don't want to share your tea with everyone, do you now? It's a very tasty, very calming tea you have within yourself. You don't want to give that away to everyone, okay? Keep it. That's all I have to say. Happy Women's Month, and I hope you learned a little bit about how I look at women. We're beautiful creatures. And men are beautiful too, don't get me wrong. They're very beautiful in their own ways, and they've got a strength that helps them operate in this world. And I really admire that. But the reason women are set apart and we function so differently is because we've got different cups within ourselves. And here's the thing, men also have those cups. But if a woman drains all her cups, it affects her deeper. It affects her instantly, it affects her deeply, and it messes up your brain waves. So preserve your cups of tea and don't give it to everybody who doesn't deserve it. That's all. Thank you.